Welcome back to the Green Yard. It is a beautiful summer day here in Phoenix, Arizona, Zone 9B, and I'm over in our food forest part of the Green Yard. I have here next to me my beautiful soursop tree. It's been in the ground for over a year, about a year and a half, and it is doing well, putting off a lot of new growth here, growing actually really great in its spot here. I got this beautiful papaya behind me. You can see it's flowering a little bit. Hasn't held on to any fruit yet though, and it's been in the ground for over a year. So I have some solutions that I'm working on with that. I'll maybe do a video about that later. We have a plumeria here in front of me, our Java de Caba. Our Cari mango has 3 mangoes on it this year. Also have our sandal tree, our loquat, and a plethora of other fruiting and flowering trees here in the food forest part of the Green Yard. I'm excited for today. It's a hot day today. It's going to be about 110. We're going into kind of this heat wave where for the next couple weeks it's going to be 110 or higher pretty much through July is what it's looking like right now. But that's okay because I have this really well-established microclimate for all of our tropical fruiting and flowering trees here with this giant mulberry tree that fortunately we moved into here, and it's doing really well as well. I'm excited for today's episode, today's video, because it's a planting video. So I actually am planting this sweet Granadilla. So if you've watched, we have 2 passion fruit varieties here in the food forest right now. We have our purple possum, which actually has a whole bunch of fruit on it as we speak. I'll hopefully be doing a harvesting video here by the end of July, beginning of August. That's typically when they ripen for me here in the Green Yard. And then just behind me here, I also have a yellow passion fruit, or a maracuya. Part of the reason I got the yellow passion fruit is because my wife is from Peru, and in Peru they make almost like a lemonade. They call it maracuya out of that yellow passion fruit. This one did not flower fruit this year, but just based on my experience with my purple possum, it does take between 2 and 3 years in the ground for them to start fruiting. But today I have this sweet Granadilla. So what separates and how I know that this actually is a sweet Granadilla, because I've been looking for this for a while. It's actually my wife's favorite fruit. It's native to the Andes in Peru and Ecuador and Bolivia, that kind of northwest area of South America. And so this is her favorite, absolutely favorite fruit. They look a little bit different than a regular passion fruit. They're actually a little bit bigger, and they're more of a ball shape instead of an oval. And on the inside, it's really sweet and crunchy kind of flavor there. The seeds are really crunchy, but the flesh itself is really sweet. And so it's her favorite fruit, and so I was fortunate enough to find a sweet Granadilla here at our local nursery, and I had to buy it, because why not? I've had a lot of success with our other passion fruits. I'm ready to try our sweet Granadilla. Sweet Granadillas are a little bit harder to grow from my research and just from talking to people, because they are a little bit more cold sensitive than our other varieties. The maracuya is going to be probably the closest in terms of cold sensitive, and it did great last winter, which was our coldest winter in many years. It did great uncovered. So I have a feeling that with the microclimate set up here, our sweet Granadilla is going to do really well as well. As we go and we get started with planting, a few things to mention as well. It looks totally different from our other passion fruits. I think it's kind of crazy. Our maracuya and our purple possum have their leaves where they have kind of the three areas on their leaves. You can see it in the background there, and I'll show you up close. These leaves are not like that at all. They're actually more of a normal leaf. Also, the trunk is ridged. It has ridges in it, whereas the other trunks do not. They are a solid circle. So some interesting variations between our different varieties and our different types of those kind of passion fruits, right? So I am putting our passion fruit here in kind of a protected space against our wall. I wanted to join in with our other passion fruits to really help create kind of this barrier. Our purple possum actually lost a lot of leaves here as it's gotten hotter. It is still holding on to fruit, and it does have a lot of leaves on other parts of the vine, just not behind me where it gets that afternoon sun. That's a new kind of development this year. Last year it did great no matter what. So I don't know if the vine is just getting a little bit older or what's going on, but I'll definitely update you if I have an update when it comes to that. So let's look more at the spot that we're planting our sweet granadilla in and get this guy in the ground. Here we go. Okay, so basically just behind where I was standing previously, we have this mound of mulch here. This is where that sweet granadilla is going to end up going. It's a really protected area over here. We have our canopy of our mulberry tree as well as our papaya. This right behind me, this is a dwarf nama banana that's actually on its way out. It has little itty bitty bananas on it, but we do have our newly planted ice cream banana pup, so this is going to get really big and help protect this area as well. Our jabuticaba is here too. I chose this spot because I already have an established trellis going with our other passion fruits. It's far enough away from our maracuya where it shouldn't matter or be bothered, and I also know that this is really protected, so it should be really great. It has the ability to grow up into full sun, which is what our passion fruit vines really like to do, even our more sensitive sweet granadilla vines. So I'm going to go ahead and move a whole bunch of this mulch to different parts of the food forest, and then we'll get going with planting our sweet granadilla. Alright, so I got the mulch out of the way as best I could. Obviously I'm going to keep some around. Remember, we use our mulch for our moisture control. That's one of the main things I'm using for right now. Also to break down into better organic matter. Because remember, a lot of our tropical fruit trees, they really like heavy organic matter in their soil. That really black soil, that's what they like, that nutrient-rich soil. So it's the other reason I keep mulch around, is also to help break down. But right now I'm using it mainly for water control and moisture control. For example, I haven't watered over here in a while, and it's still damp to the touch. It's not perfect, but it is still damp to the touch. It's been over a week since I watered this area, so that's pretty good for our moisture control, especially in 110-degree temperature. I'm going to start digging this hole. Here's our beautiful jabuticaba right here. It's putting off a whole bunch of new growth. Totally unfazed by the fact that it's going to be 110. It was 110 yesterday. Going to be 110 today. Even has some new growth coming out of some other spots. Doing really well. Really likes this microclimate. Here's our sweet granadilla that we were just talking about. And of course, here's that hole that I dug. It's not very deep. Usually if this was going into a actual not heavily mulched yard, I would make this probably 3 times the size, 3 times the width, 3 times the height of the pot. That way when we mix in our native soil and our nursery soil, we really give that plant a good start to grow and thrive in its new location. For me here in the green yard, we're under this really heavy mulch, and we have been for the last 3 years. There's our loquat tree growing into the full sun. Santol trees right here with our Michaelia alba behind it. But we've been under mulch for the past 3 years. This soil is actually in really great shape. It's a good combination of kind of that organic matter and our original clay soil that we have here in the green yard. So I'm not going to actually mix in any nursery soil into this hole. I'm simply going to put our sweet Granadilla into the ground and just kind of let it thrive. So let's go ahead, let's get that plant in the ground, and we'll talk about and put on some of our amendments as well once we get it planted here. So here's our sweet Granadilla. Let's get it out of this pot, and we can see how rooted out it is. It feels like it's pretty rooted out here, but you never know. So let's try it out. I'm just kind of squishing around the sides to loosen up that soil a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of pull it out a little bit by the stem, but mostly just kind of wiggle it out of here. Oh, look at that. It is really, really well rooted out. Nice. I'm going to leave this trellis in here for now, and then towards the end of the video, I'm going to see if these branches are long enough to start trellising it up into our other passion fruit vines here. So I'm just going to take our plant up, gotta add a little bit of soil back in. Okay. That's probably pretty good. Yeah, perfect. Okay. I want to have a little bit of height on it because I need to keep that root flare, the top roots, basically visible. And the reason I do that is because it allows our plant to breathe. So we always want to have our root flare visible. Gives that plant the ability to take in whatever necessary oxygen it needs, or carbon dioxide. I don't know the scientific part of it, but I know that I've been doing that here in the green yard, and as you can see, everything is thriving with that root flare exposed. I have also planted plants too deep before, and it's never successful. So definitely make sure you keep that root flare visible when you plant it. And that root flare, like I mentioned before, it is just those top roots that you can see. I am just kind of putting back this soil that I took out, moving some away from the actual trunk of the sweet Granadilla. And then I'm going to move some of this mulch in as well. This mulch that I had before, I'm just going to kind of swing it in here. Really help with not only breaking down to that more organically rich soil, but also for that water retention. We definitely want that. That looks great. All right. So that sweet Granadilla is in the ground. Let's go ahead and let's work on our amendments and see if we can trellis some of these. Here we go. Okay, so here's our beautiful Granadilla, all planted in the sweet Granadilla, all planted in the ground. I did add in our agricultural sulfur as an amendment. You can see it here on the ground. I just sprinkled it around the entirety of the root base here and the future root base as well. I chose to just do that at this time because when I first plant them, I don't do any sort of fish emulsion or anything else. I usually try to give them a month or two to get established, and then I'll start adding in that fish emulsion and really help with that growth. Our passion fruits, our Granadillas, this sweet Granadilla, they really like to eat, and what I mean by that is they do like that fertilizer, they like that organic matter. It really helps them. They're kind of like bananas. Bananas are another one that really like to eat. And so I am definitely going to be giving our sweet Granadilla some fish emulsion once a month here, probably starting next month. I decided not to
kind of extend the branches yet. I'm going to leave it trellised for a little bit longer until it starts putting off some more new growth. At each of these kind of intersections, it does have new branches coming out. So I know it's happy. I know it's hopefully going to like its transition into its new spot. I just want to kind of give it a little bit more time to get used to its new location before I start branching out all of those branches. I thought this was interesting. I grabbed one of our purple possum passion fruit leaves. So this is kind of the typical passion fruit leaf that you see when you think of a passion fruit vine, whether it be, you know, that yellow passion fruit, that maracuya, or that purple possum. And this is what the sweet granadilla leaf looks like. So you can see they're totally different in the shape and the way that they look. As I mentioned before, even their branches and their trunks are different too. So I think it's just interesting. I find it interesting how our different varieties look completely different. So I'm going to go ahead and give this guy some water, and hopefully here in the next year or so I can give you an update on our sweet granadilla, how it's doing, and hopefully do a harvest video in the next couple years as well. I know they're my wife's favorite fruit, her being from Peru. I also love them too. They're really, really delicious. So I'm excited to harvest some sweet granadilla here in the future. As always, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or anything, please put it in the comments below. If you want to see a video on another tree, flowering, fruiting tree, vine, whatever you've seen in our past videos, if you want a video specific to that tree or that vine or that bush, please let me know. I'd be happy to do one for you. And as always, live green, plant lots, and of course have fun. We'll see you next time.